Welcome back to another episode of Operation Evil. This is episode 70, Love on Wheels. I'm your host, Nyoka.
I'm Rachel.
And today, Rachel is, she gathered a story that is very special, and we will be having a guest on there, but I'm going to let her talk about it. Go ahead and take it away. This is so nice to see you.
It's a pleasure.
To sit right next to you and podcast like we used to. She's like...
So you can watch me mess up my note cards?
Luckily, you're not using note cards.
And laugh at said incident?
Yes. Oh, man, she was a mess back in the day.
Still am.
Update to breaking news. Newport News police released the name of the man found dead on 24th Street this morning. A search party says they found the body first and called police. 13 News Now reporter Allison Basil spoke with the group.
The community rallied together this morning to form a search party to find the man, but that search party quickly ended behind a home on this 800 block of 24th Street.
We found his wheelchair right there.
Saturday morning, community activist David Wilson got a call that a familiar face around Newport News went missing.
Dre is somebody that everybody in the community, most people in the community know and love.
Dre, who's now formally identified by police officers as 31-year-old Andre Grady. Wilson says Grady used a wheelchair to get around. This picture circulating on Facebook shows a photo of Grady before he went missing.
So overall, we told ourselves we were going to go in this direction and just go door to door.
That's when Wilson says they found wheelchair tracks leading to the back of the house.
We found a hat first that had blood on it, but we saw like a hole in the back of the house, and it was a board covering it. So Jodeci kicked it down, and then she looked, we all looked, and we ended up seeing his shoes and legs.
Wilson says they called police, shocked their search had come to an end. With the support of the search party, Uganda's Sample says they found Grady's body quickly.
David was able to wake people up and just organizing a search party. That's something that I haven't seen in my 14 years of being in Newport News.
Wilson says he'll never forget Grady's nonstop jokes and will miss seeing him around.
I don't know anybody that had any problems with him, anything like that. It was all, always love when everybody saw Dre. For something like that to happen to Dre as a disabled man, it kind of hits you different.
And the body was transported to the medical examiner's office to determine the cause of death. In Newport News, Allison Basil, 13 News Now.
At the age of 5, Andre Grady was shot in the neck and stomach while riding his little bicycle in front of his grandma's house. This was back in 94, I believe. It was reported as a drive-by shooting and that Andre was not the target. However, one of the bullets damaged his spine, causing him to be paralyzed from the chest down. Now, they found out that one arm, the left arm was working, but his right arm was not. 2 men were shot also, around the area, but they were treated and released. Investigators said about 15 to 20 shots were fired toward Andre's grandma's house. There were bullet holes found in 2 other houses close by, and witnesses heard a man threaten Andre's cousin who was 16 years old. Earlier that day, a witness saw this argument, and this man was like, I'm going to come back with a gun. But, that was a witness saying that. We don't know if it's actual, true or whatever. Another witness saw a man with a gun in a car used in the shooting the next day. So, the person who did this drive-by shooting, the next day, a witness saw that same car, that same person with a gun in their car. Another comment that was made by the police was that it was suspected that one of the 2 men injured was the target. So the 2 men that I talked about earlier that were treated and released,
yeah,
they think that maybe one of them was the target of the drive-by
and this
shooting.
Poor little 5-year-old
was in the crossfire.
Oh my God.
Yeah. After almost 2 weeks in the hospital, Dr. Magnus Noah, who was a surgeon with the International Institute of Reconstructive Microsurgery, his team performed a surgery to repair the nerves in Andre's right arm. So it was really interesting because they said that, like, they cut him from, like, behind the ear all the way down to his chest, I believe.
Wow.
And they, like, meticulously repaired these nerves. Now, this was not an overnight fix. It would take years for those nerves to heal. But the goal was to get Andre in a wheelchair for him to be able to use both of his arms to get around. And to live, you know, you'll hear LaTonya, his mother, say, if you look up any videos or news articles or whatever, that Andre lived an independent life. And I believe he did so. So, you know, thank goodness to these doctors, they helped him get to that point. And there was, you know, years of physical therapy. So the day after the shooting, now, the shooting happened on a Thursday. So on Friday, August 19th, 1994, David Hitchcock, who was 18 years old, turned himself into police and was charged with 2 counts of malicious wounding and 2 counts of using a firearm in the commission of a felony. So I guess, in other words, that means he had a felony and he had possession of a firearm. So police, they also arrested Kevin Kennedy, who was also 18, and he was charged with the same counts as David. Now, a year later, they were both convicted of shooting. So the charges, one of the guys, I can't remember which one, but when they were reading the verdict, one of the guys made like a smirk because the initial charges, they were found like not guilty, I believe. But then these charges that I'm about to read, they were found guilty for. So I guess, you know, he made a smirk like, you know, he got off or whatever, but he did not.
I'm sitting here thinking, like, I can't believe it was an attempted murder.
For real. Like a 5-year-old boy.
Where did you say this happened? Did you say this happened?
You know what? I don't think it did. Or I don't think I did say. This happened in Newport News, Virginia.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. I remember the Newport part because we have a Newport here.
Yeah, in Kentucky.
Yes.
So they were convicted of shooting into an occupied dwelling and shooting from a motor vehicle and illegal use of a firearm. But yeah, like no attempted murder, I guess because they didn't plan to shoot him. That's just silly to me.
Yeah.
The jury recommended 23 years maximum punishment. Now, what's aggravating, though, is that I could not find any information to see if they served their full terms or anything about either one of them. I'm sorry, but I have no information, and maybe we can have that answered a little bit later on, but hopefully they served their max terms.
I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad that the media didn't cover it. Like, there's no articles to be found.
You know what? There was like one newspaper, the Daily News, I think is what it was, and like I think like the Virginia Post or something like that, where I found most of my information, but hardly anything.
Yeah.
At all. Now, let's jump about 28 years later, okay? I am watching this YouTube video, and everybody probably gets started hearing that because I like to watch all these YouTube videos, and then these videos that I watch, they bring me to these people, and I'm just like, oh, I want to know more about this person.
Yeah.
It's because they just strike something with you, you know? So this YouTuber, Nick Crowley, he has this compilation video, and it's like shocking videos, scary ones, and disturbing videos. One of the videos is a live stream, and it's of this search party, and they're looking for someone. Not long into the video, you see an electric wheelchair. And, I mean, the video is like, for some reason to me, it looks more like a... Now, this happened, like, the live happened in 2019, but I don't know if maybe it was an older phone, but it just looked like an older video that was recorded, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you see this electric wheelchair, and from what I remember, because I only watched it once, it's like you see this grassy area, and there's this electric wheelchair, and there's like a fence or something, like a privacy fence or something behind it, maybe. And then you see this small crowd of people. And in the very beginning of the video, there is someone talking. And then it becomes very apparent that they have found something. And you're like, you don't know what it is at first until you hear these sounds. And it's a sound of pain that you never, ever want to hear in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's coming from Andre's friends and family. And sadly, this is how I learned of Andre Grady's name. So, like I said, I had to just go to search everything that I could. And the first thing that I found when I Googled his name was this Facebook memory, like a tribute memory to him. And I'll tell you, it's called, hold on.
Was it like a memorial page?
Yes, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. It's called Honoring Dre, the Andre Grady Story.
Oh.
So what happened was on Saturday morning, December 14th, and this is the day after Andre goes missing, a search party consisting of family, friends, and a well-known community organizer by the name of David Wilson. He runs a foundation called Us for Us. They all gather to look for Andre. And this Facebook Live was started just to raise awareness, just to show love and support, because evidently a lot of people in the community knew Andre and he was well loved. And like I said earlier, not long into the search, they find Andre's wheelchair, and it's in this church parking lot. And about 100 yards away, there's this abandoned house, and one of the people, there's like this wooden piece that is like up against this, it looks like a basement window. But this person moves this board and you hear, that's when you start to hear panic. And it's actually a crawl space. And that's where they find Andre's body. It's inside of this crawl space. So
Which is like far away from his wheelchair, right?
it's only like 100 yards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, what would that be? Like, is that less than a block?
Oh my gosh, I'm so horrible with
Me too.
measurements.
Me too. I thought I read something else that it was like within a block away from each other.
Mm.
So police, of course they call the police. The police comes and they find enough evidence to rule this a homicide. And, and here this is in 2019, they say in the newspaper reports that they've got some strong leads, but I mean, the killer still has not been found as of yet. Today.
No way.
Right. So Andre, the reason why we call this episode Love on Wheels is because he was known as Love on Wheels. Isn't that so cute?
That is the cutest.
And people called him Dre as well. So that's, the name for the tribute page. He was described as charismatic and funny. He's a really good looking guy. He's so cute. If you look at the profile picture for the Facebook page, that's like my favorite picture of him.
We're going to have to post that.
Yeah, he's not smiling or anything, but it's just cute. He's just such a nice looking guy. From pictures, he looks like he is always dressed like pretty stylish. Like he's always got some nice sneakers on, occasionally some flashy jewelry, like gold and like...
I love it.
Like I don't want to offend anybody, but it's almost like kind of like gaudy jewelry.
Like bling.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. He is his mother's oldest child. And from anything that I read, the whole neighborhood was devastated and confused about his death because he didn't have any enemies. Why would anyone want to do this to him? Why?
I feel so bad for this guy. I mean, here he was involved in this drive-by shooting as an innocent child, ends up in a wheelchair, and then copes with that, is independent, goes on with life, and then this happens.
Yeah, I mean,
that is so horrible.
It's just not fair.
It's not fair.
Not fair.
No.
No, whether this was an accident gone wrong, like, I don't know, maybe it just went too far and this person didn't mean to kill him, or maybe it was a robbery or retaliation. Andre's family will never give up, and neither should we.
No.
I feel like, if we just get his name out there, and like I always say, just one little thing, just one tiny little thing can like lead to finding who did whatever it can be.
I love when we do episodes like this because I think it is important to keep throwing their names out.
And don't let them be forgotten.
Right. So anybody that listens to this,
right,
they now know who he is and what his story is.
Yeah.
And
just a tiny bit of a story.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, we can keep spreading his name and just maybe one day there can be some closure for the family. I think I heard somebody say once, like, it's not completely closure, but at least, like, it's a little bit, like, there's some answers.
Right.
His family fights. They fought and they are still fighting. Like, so they have, and we'll probably find out how this was developed. But so since Andre he was labeled, you know, like with disabilities because he was paralyzed and confined to the wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
So from the ages of 18 to 63, you're considered an adult, you know, your own accord or whatever. So the police, and I'm going to guess in most states, wait 24 to 48 hours to begin a search for someone who's been reported missing.
If they're an adult.
Right.
Okay.
So this system, this Andre response system or Andre alert system, it allows police to go ahead and just start searching. So I read that on the Facebook page, it said that officially this year, 2023, that it will become law in Virginia on July 1. So, you know, they have fought for, it's kind of, the way I understand it is it might be like an Amber Alert or like, what's the one for older people that may have?
Golden.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Something along those lines.
But this is for people with a disability.
Right.
I think this is a fantastic idea.
Yeah, because like the night that Andre went missing, he was supposed to meet his mother at the store, and his mother knew something was wrong because he didn't show up. And and I remember seeing or hearing something where it was thunderstorming that night, and she just knew something was wrong, and it was too late. So, you know, and like she said, you know, sometimes people with disabilities, they need their medication. And if they miss their medication, it could lead to worse things.
Right.
So I think this is a great thing.
I think so too. I think they're really taking something horrible and making something good from it.
Yeah. And hopefully it'll be carried through to all of the other states.
Yeah. That gives me like goosebumps.
It does. So here soon, we are going to welcome Andre's mother, LaTonya, and she will talk to us a little bit more about Andre. I'm hoping she can let us know how he was as a little boy, maybe give some more insight into that alert system, maybe, you know, the investigation, whatever she wants to talk about, but we do have some questions for her.
I'm so excited.
Me too. So I've already talked to her, and she's such a pleasure. She reached right out to me like immediately. So,
amazing.
Yeah. So,
oh my gosh.
So that will be coming.
Yeah. So I guess what we're going to do now, we're going to pause it here on our end, and we'll be back in a flash on yours because we'll be back with her.
Mm-hmm.
All right. To be continued. We just kind of went into Andre's story a little bit. I'll let you guide it because you're the one telling it, but then we thought we're going to pick this up and get you on here, and then so we can learn more about him and his story.
All right. So yeah, we just kind of told a little bit about Andre's story about when he was 5 and how the incident with the drive-by shooting and how he got shot. So is there anything that you want to start out with saying about Andre?
He was always that typical little boy, doing things that boys do. He loved outdoors, riding his bike, anything outdoors. He was one of them children. His punishment was not to go outside. He loved outdoors, and he loved making people smile. He was so loving. He was such a good kid. He was never a hand, that hard head child. He was a good kid, and he really loved people. Like I said, outdoors was his favorite spot. It was nothing that could keep him from being outdoors.
And it seems like that maybe that carried over with him through like adulthood.
Yes, ma'am. Even after he got shot at 5 years old, he still loved to be outdoors. He loved his neighborhood. We moved from the area that he got shot in to uptown. And even up there, he always loved to go outside. He said the sunshine made him happy.
Oh, I love that.
So he would just go outside and just sit in the sunlight and, just meditate. Even, it took him a minute to get friends because him being in the wheelchair was hard for him to, kids to connect. But he finally found friends, and all he used to ask them, can you push me around in the sun? Can you push me around the neighborhood? So a lot of the kids, got used to him by pushing him around. And as he got older, that became his thing. He met a lot of people just by being outside and being pushed around, and that's how he got well known.
Do you think that is why, like, he makes such a huge impression on people just because, just by looking at him, just by his presence?
His demeanor was, don't give up. Anybody he came in contact with, he left a good impression with. I don't care how bad of a day you had. Once you came across him, before he left you, he's going to make you smile. And his motto was, never say goodbye. I'll see you later. And always smile because things could be worse. Look at me.
Right.
And he always smiled. I don't care what he was going through, all the pain, disappointment. He always smiled. He never, me being his mom, I have seen him cry, but he tried not to ever let anybody see him cry. He said, it's not that I'll be weak. He said, but I want people to understand that it's better to smile than to frown. And that was his motto. He just was loving. He always had a good word for everybody, and he was very inspirational.
Sounds like it. I love the nickname Love on Wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, that was his nickname, Love on Wheels.
Do you know?
No matter where he went, he spreaded love.
Did you give him that nickname?
Basically, the neighborhood did. They used to call him Love, Little Love, and then when the wheels came around, when he got his little motorized chair, he became the Love on Wheels.
That is the cutest ever.
It is. So, like,
yes.
I was talking about in the story earlier how, like, and I want to know if this is true. So, like, the pictures that I saw, he always seemed like he was dressed pretty stylish. And with some flashy jewelry, like, is that how he dressed?
Yes, he loved his tennis shoes. He loved tennis shoes. I said, you can tell him, you can only wear one pair and you don't even walk in them. Why you keep out that? I might can't use my legs, but at least my feet can look good.
I love that.
He loved his tennis shoes. That was one thing. His tennis shoes, and he had one hand that worked. And he said, when I go to use that hand, I want them to notice my rings. So he loved to put his rings on and his watch on because he only had one good hand. So he had to dress that one good hand up. But he loved dressing. Anything dealing with style with him, he had to always be color coordinated. And he loved, like I said, his shoes was his main thing. So
yeah, like they look like they. I'm only guessing that he probably made sure they were clean because like those things look like they shine.
Yes.
Yeah.
He take them off before he gets out of his chair. His shoes have to come off because he don't like them to hit the floor.
See, you called it.
Like his shoes hit the floor. He said you mess them up when they hit the floor because he dragged his legs. So when he transferred, his feet were dragged, and he didn't want to drag his shoes, but he would take them off first before he did his transfer.
Yeah, she called that for sure because, we just noticed how put together he was. Like, his hair looked like it was always, like, on point.
And he had, one of his dad's friends was a barber, so that he made sure he kept his haircut, He was very court. He loved his style. So
Way more style than I've ever had.
That was him.
Me too.
He said, if I'm going to be outside, I'm going to be outside looking good.
And you can definitely tell that by the pictures then.
Oh, yeah.
It's very, yeah.
Yes, and he loved taking pictures.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, he loved taking pictures and videos, and he really did.
I love,
Yes, he did.
my favorite picture of him, though, is the profile picture of the Facebook memorial. Like, he's not smiling, but, like, his eyes are just so gorgeous, and he's just so cute in that picture.
Like they follow you, right?
Yes. Yes.
Everybody say that it was like his eyes is mesmerizing. It's like they follow you. And believe it or not, I have that picture. Somebody painted that portrait.
I saw
and
that.
I have it hanging up in my living room.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, you'll have to look. If you didn't already look through the Facebook,
No, I'll
it's
have
in
to
the
look through it.
photos. Yeah,
We'll definitely have to post a picture
mm-hmm.
of him. What I found was like really awesome is that how much you're pushing for this response system for after everything that happened.
We did push that, and we got it signed in July the 1st. They tagged it on with the Ashanti alert. And what I'm pushing for now is for it to be worldwide. It was signed under SB, I forgot the bill number, 413, in the state of Virginia. And like I said, they tagged him under the Ashanti alert. So instead of just being adult missing people, it also be adult handicapped, critically ill missing people that they have to respond within 2 hours of looking for them. So that's one great thing that came out of this tragedy.
Yeah.
We did get that bill passed to help those that are disabled and over the age of 18 that does not fit the silver alert. So we did get something for them, which is great.
That is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Great work on that, by the way.
Yes.
Like, that's really going to help other people in the future.
It helps a lot because, like I said, it was so many after Andre. You really don't know how many in your community are suffering from that. But by us being a military state, you have so many military people coming back that's disabled, you know?
You're so right.
And excuse me?
I said, you're so right. Like, those are things that I don't think the rest of us think about.
And they're afraid to leave home because they never know what's going to happen.
Uh-huh.
You know, like I said, it could be one person could be in a wheelchair and they go and they fall out their wheelchair and nobody, you know, taking a path home. If don't nobody walk past to see them, how long would they be out there?
True.
You know? So this is really great for them. So they could have freedom because, like my son always said, you know, he lived with me forever, and which I love. But he always wanted his own, and he said, that was my biggest fear with him because I didn't know if something would happen. So I tried to keep him close to home, but as he got older, he wanted to branch out, and he did, and he got his own place, and we got him the wheelchair. And everything was set up, and he had his sister-in-law, you know, staying with him. So that was kind of his starting point, you know, until this happened. So
yeah,
my worst fear came true.
Did was it true that he was supposed to meet you at the store that night, and that's what like?
No, we had on the 12th. We had planned to meet on the 13th. To do Christmas shopping to get the Christmas out of layaway. And,
okay.
Because we had this was our first Christmas that the whole family was coming home, and we was all going to be together. And he was so excited because he had got enough, you know, he had saved up enough money to get everybody a gift.
Aww.
So this was very special for him, and he was the one who put it together for everybody to come home and be home at the same time. It was his idea, and you know everything had finally came together for him. And he was very excited, and he was like, "Mom, you meet me at 10 o'clock at Burleson." And I was like, "Okay," but you know we talk every day on the phone every morning, at waking up with each other. You know, that's our routine. That was part of the plan of him being able to have his own place. He had to make sure he checked in and, you know, so I wouldn't have to come down there. So everything, you know, but he never called that morning. He never showed. I thought maybe he had hooked up with some friends or whatever, forgot about me. But after so long of not answering his phone, I started calling around. Nobody had heard from him. I got wary, and I waited for his sister, and I waited for her to come home, and she was like, she hadn't heard from him even that night before. So that's when I called the police, and they was like, oh, he's an adult. Ain't nothing we could do. He had to be gone so many hours before we could do anything.
Yeah.
But I was, you know, persistent. I was very persistent. At that time, I had that mother's intuition that something just won't right. And I persistently kept calling, and it was just this one officer who heard me say that my son was in a wheelchair. And she called me back. And she said, I'm not supposed to do this. She said, but I hear the stress in your voice. She said, and I'm just going to take down some information, and I'm going to send the officer out to talk to you. And she sent the officer out, but of course I was begging him to please ride the area that he, you know, normally go, because it was storming really bad that night, and it was cold.
Yeah.
I was like, if he's in his motorized wheelchair, he cannot be out in the rain, so the battery probably went dead on it. He's stuck somewhere. And that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and this is December.
Or the battery died. You know, he's somewhere that got out the wheelchair trying to call for help. You know, can you just ride the area? And he was like, we're storming right now. That's the whole purpose why I'm asking you.
Oh, my goodness.
But he didn't do it.
Wow.
Nobody did it. I told him exact area that they should, the route that he would take to go to the store. Because his sister said he had went to the store that night when he left out here, was going to 7-Eleven. So I know the route that he would take to go to 7-Eleven. I said, can you take this route and see if you see him? They told me no. He said he called the hospital, so did nobody have nobody in the hospital. That he probably somewhere getting high.
Oh, no.
Or somewhere, because parents is always the last to know that their kids are on drugs.
Right.
Okay, for one, my son is not on drugs tonight. By then, my nerves was, I'm heated, because why is that the first thing you want to say to a mother who's in distress about her child?
Exactly.
Instead of just asking the officer to patrol the area, which he didn't. So he finally left, and we sat by the phone where I started making Facebook posts asking people to, if they go by the area to see if they see him, to please give me a call, because his chair might have died or be broken and he's somewhere stuck. About 4:00 in the morning, I got a phone call from one of his friends that left the club and was riding the area looking for him, and he spotted his wheelchair.
Oh, gosh.
And at that moment, I asked him if he could stay with the wheelchair, and I would be on my way down, and I would call the police. And I told the police, gave them the report number and everything, and told them everything that was going on. I asked them if they could search the area, because it was very dark that night. It was foggy. I mean, that fog was so thick that night. You couldn't see, like, really in front of you unless you had, like, a high beam light.
Yeah.
So I asked them, I said, can y'all, like, because it's a great big field, and then it's a house, some houses. And I was asking if they could shine their light. It was a church. They had, like, a bunch of stuff back there. I said, can you look back there behind the church? They told me no, they was not doing all that. That they'll just add this along with the report that we found the wheelchair, that he's probably done got in a car with somebody and gone up New York somewhere to score some drugs.
What?
Oh my gosh.
How dare them?
Very rude. Then they demanded that I take the wheelchair off the property of the church because the wheelchair was on a church property parking lot. Somebody had parked it at the church, in the church parking lot.
Meanwhile, it's evidence.
So,
Exactly.
right. So as I went over to the chair, I noticed the seatbelt was cut, the footrest was gone, the seatbelt was cut, footrest was gone, and it was blood on the little side of the armrest.
Oh my God.
And I then told him, I said, something ain't right because the seatbelt is cut and where's his footrest? And they was like, what? I said, the seatbelt is cut and where's the footrest? And they was like, we don't know, but you need to get this chair moved before somebody take it. And I was like, how am I going to? For one, normally you could release the emergency brake on the chair and you could push it as if it was just a regular push chair. But this chair would not. This is the crazy part. The chair would not move.
Wow.
We tried sitting in the chair to move because it was designed for his pressure, and it don't move unless he's sitting in it. So we tried sitting in the chair to move it. We tried pushing the chair to move it. It would not move.
Wow.
The chair did not move at all. So at that time, I said, you know what? This chair's not moving. Something just told me to cover up the mechanism where the armrest where the mechanism at, and the blood was at. So my fiance had a plastic bag in his car. So we then covered the arm piece up where the blood was, and the arm mechanism. We covered it up with the plastic bag. I went home then because they told us we had to leave. They said we had to get off the property or we'll be arrested.
What?
Yes.
I am so angry right now.
I know. I'm like pissed off.
We could not get the chair to move, but they told us that we was trespassing at that point and we need to leave. I asked them, can you please just shine your lights over there? They told me no, that they would look once I'm gone. So we pulled around the corner just to see if they would. They didn't. They pulled off right after we did.
That is horrible.
I went home and I made a post on Facebook letting them know we had found this wheelchair. And if anybody had any information about where he could be, to notify me. And that was like about 5:30. That's when I got the phone call at 7 that we was going to do. They were forming a search party. I was, as soon as the crack of daylight, I was down there already, knocking on doors. Anybody seen my son, but nobody responded and seeing him. And then once we got the search party together, we decided to go back to the wheelchair where we found the wheelchair. No, we called the chief of police, and he told us he could not come because he was at a basketball game.
Oh my gosh.
That we couldn't get no assistance with the police on the search.
I don't understand.
So we decided to search on our own, and no sooner than we turned around, there was tire marks. And the crazy part is, as much rain as had fallen that night, them tire marks were still there. Had not moved. They were still there. So we followed the tire mark, and it went into the backyard. That's where we seen his bloody head. And one of the girls' foot hit the board, and when her foot hit the board, they bent down to pick the board up, and that's when they seen his shoe.
Oh no!
And we discovered his body.
I mean, I know from watching the news clip, I could see the wheelchair tracks clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because that's that day, but the next day, the marks was completely gone.
It's almost like a good thing that you could not move the wheelchair, so you could come back the next day and see exactly. It was like meant to happen that way. It was like, no, I'm not letting you move this.
After we found him, the wheelchair moved.
Oh, that's giving me goosebumps.
That's powers.
The wheelchair moved when the police came to confiscate the chair. They was able to push the chair right on up on the ramp. It moved freely, like it was nothing holding it. It moved.
Can I ask you a question, and I hope this doesn't offend you? Did you feel like Andre was there?
It did. It really did. To me, he guided us to him.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was kind of thinking, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to
He
just.
got it. He knows. He knows that that was my deepest fear. Something would happen. I wouldn't be able to find him. He made sure that I found him. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh! Like,
And his whole everybody that loves him and his family was there. We found him together as a family. It was not like one. We all was together to console each other at that moment of finding him. So to me, he was there. His spirit was right there.
Did you get to have your Christmas all together?
Yes, we still had Christmas. It just wasn't Christmas, but we had Christmas.
Yeah.
It was that empty, but we was all together. Yes.
And I think, I mean, I don't mean to speak out of terms, but I think that would have, just by what you say about him, I think that would have made him so happy to know that you still had that Christmas.
We still had Christmas, and the crazy part is we had his funeral, and I had him cremated, and it took his ashes 3 days to burn, and his ashes completion date was on the 25th.
Wow.
On Christmas Day.
That makes me want to cry.
yeah.
So I said the 3 days was for the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and he completed on the 25th, the day Jesus was born. So to me, that lets me know that he was okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Did they ever find out who did this? This was ruled a homicide, right?
Yes, ma'am. No. Yes, it was ruled a homicide by blunt force trauma. He was beaten to death, but they never arrested anybody. No.
Oh my gosh!
It's like a cold case file, dead end. But I had problems because the police kept getting switched. The detectives kept getting switched on the case, and nobody is consistent with doing the work. So,
did they even go through the evidence with the wheelchair and stuff? Oh my gosh!
No, everything. I even asked. I said, "Y'all not looking for the killer, so can I get my son's property back?" They told me, "No, we're gonna leave it in the evidence locker, until we find somebody." But y'all not looking, so.
I'm so angry about that.
I just can't understand.
Yeah, it makes you angry, but like I said, I'm a firm believer of God. They have to answer.
Yeah, they do.
Even if they did get caught, I mean, I'm the one, because to me the whole motive is you robbed him. And there was a string of robberies going around during that time. And they said that he had went at 7-Eleven and had money because he had just got his check and stuff, and he had his birthday money. And he was getting a money order for his rent. So they probably robbed him. They didn't sign the money order or his jewelry or nothing was on him. So I'm pretty sure that's what it was about.
That's what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. All his jewelry was gone. He didn't have no money. They did take his cell phone because they kept logging on to his Facebook page. And I thought it was him, but it was not him. It was whoever had killed him.
Oh my gosh, the police can't just go by that? Like, come on, guys.
They did not go by that. They did not. Because, like I said, I don't know what they was doing, but years later, when I mentioned it to, 2 years later, I mentioned it to the female detective that got it. And she was like, she was able to pull up the pings of where the phone was used at. Did I know anybody in that area, which I didn't, so.
Oh. So immediately after this.
2 years later, it's hard to try to go back and retrieve any, information of who was in this area 2 years ago, so.
So immediately after all of this, and not having the assistance of the police, and that's when you jumped into the alert response system.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you go through that? Like, was it through city council that you said you went through, or did you have to go through?
Yes, we met with the city council, and of course they denied us at that moment. We met with the mayor, We met with the city manager. We met with so many people, and it's just we ended up David Wilson, who was the one who formed the search party. Him and Bakir Shabazz, they was able to connect with the right ones, the senator, and get it going. So that's how we was able to do it.
Great.
I was wondering how
Senator
that
Cardoza
happened.
was
Yeah.
able to help get that with 0 people going against him. So that was the first time they said everybody voted yes and nobody voted no. So that was a great thing.
Did the proclamation, did they ever do that for Andre?
The what?
The proclamation, I think it was, they wanted it to be Dre Day.
No, we never got approval on that. We're still working on that because we would like it to be July the 1st, the day the bill signed in. But we still haven't gotten that date officially set yet. But hopefully this year we could do that.
I hope so too. And I love that date too because that's my wedding anniversary. So I will never forget it.
Oh,
There you go.
I will never forget it.
Yes.
And then like can you tell us about his tree, his plaque and his tree?
Yes. The CIRN Criminal and Justice Reform Network, they donated a tree on his behalf. And footstones, because he, like I said, he loved outdoors. Everybody known him to sit right there because it was a couple of elderly guys that used to sit there and in front of the store, and that's how they knew. You know, he was known to always sit there with them, and they used to hang out right there and just sit. They go in to get the free lunch and come back out and sit and hang out in front of the little church in the store. So they recommended that we put a memorial there so that people that he used to sit with could still visit him.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, so now there is the area downtown Newport News where he loved to sit, and all his friends could go and sit and talk with him, and they bring flowers and they decorate for the holidays.
Mm.
So, you know, it's very nice to give them a place of peace where they could talk to him because he still have a lot of friends that really miss him.
Yeah.
And like I said, he was good with the elderly people. You know, there was a couple of them that was in wheelchairs. I used to call them the wheelchair gang because they all sat out there in their wheelchairs and they just sit out there and talk all day long. You know, and I come through there and I drop some pizza off or some food or whatever for them or whatever, you know, just to see them. But I used to call them the wheelchair gang because they all sat out there in their little chairs to conversate. But
So did Andre act like a little old man? Like
yes, he did. Yes, he did. He loved women, though. I tell you, he loved him some women. He said, "Ain't nothing like a pretty woman to make your day."
He's a good-looking guy too.
very good looking.
Yes, yes, he loved him some women, though. That was his motto: sit there and watch him.
I think him and my pawpaw would have got along really good.
Right. But to me, he was never like the typical child. He always like hanging with the older people. You say you learn a lot from him. And I think because they always accepted him because of him being in a wheelchair, they never, you know, like judge him. So he never, I mean, other than his sister and them, he never really hung with anybody. Like basically his age, they was always older, you know.
Sounds like he was an old soul.
Yeah.
Yes, an old soul.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
With a good style.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was ready.
A great style.
He was dressed to impress the ladies.
Right.
Is there anything that you would like to talk about, like anything else, like for the world to know, or?
Just basically love on your loved ones and talk to your local senators and governors about getting that Andre response system put in your local state areas so that your disabled adult children can have that freedom of not always having to have their parents hold their hand. They could grow up, and don't have to worry about if something happens. So get your governors, your senators to write petitions for the Andre response system to come in y'all neighborhood, for the protection of y'all handicapped adult children.
Yes, everyone, please do that. That is such a wonderful thing. We do need that worldwide.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
And thank you for getting that started. Thank you for sharing his story with us and just thank you so much.
You're amazing.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
If there's anything we can do, anything we could share for you or whatever, feel free to always reach out to.
I surely will.
Like, we really want to spread awareness and get a story out there and get this alert response system going everywhere.
We really need that Andre response system worldwide.
He is saving lives.
There's so many kids that really want, and you'd be amazed how many kids just want the freedom of being able to go to the mall without somebody having to go with them.
Yes.
But they're worried about what will happen if my wheelchair do that. Will I just have to sit there,
Mm-hmm.
And you want your kids to have their freedom.
Absolutely.
So this will give them that sense of freedom and protection. So, it's sad that I had to go through a tragedy to get this to happen, but everything happens for a reason in my eyes, and maybe this is the reason for it to go worldwide.
He is changing lives. He's saving lives.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're amazing. I know I already said that, but you are.
It's hard not to not repeat.
Like, you're so inspiring and amazing story. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up from here. Like I said, feel free to reach out to us at any time. And Rachel will send you the link to the episode. Let's get it out there. Let's share it on his page. I want this to go worldwide for you guys. So
thank you so much.
Let's do this.
Yes.
Just keep letting them know about it. Let them know. We need this Andre response worldwide.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Y'all have a blessed night.
You too. Bye, LaTonya.
Okay, guys, so we're back after speaking to LaTonya. Wow. She's great. It's amazing.
She is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Amazing person.
We are wanting to end this with one, spread the awareness, as she said, with getting this legislation passed all the way around the world. That would be amazing. Two, no one has been convicted yet of his murder. So if you or anyone have any information whatsoever on this case, please, 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 please call the crime line at 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP, and we will put that in the show notes. The lock you up, the U is just you. It's not spelled, out. It's just you. Just so you know.
A single U.
A single U. Other than that, do you have any more to add?
I just want to say thank you again to LaTonya and the whole Grady family and to David Wilson. I hope that we told Andre's story with respect, and we will get his name out there. So everybody, please listen to the story. Please share. Let's see about that Andre alert system. Like, again, every little bitty detail helps.
And remember, we're always here for another story. If you have something to share and you want the awareness out there, contact us. We're here for you. We will do that for you. Also, we still are planning on releasing a Patreon episode to everyone. We just haven't put it out. We're going to put this episode out first, and maybe in a week, then we'll release a bonus just to kind of give you a taste of what we have on the other side of things if you want to become a Patreon. Other than that, everything's in the show notes. Patreon stuff.
You'll see stuff on our Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to share pictures and all of the things, but thank you, everyone. Our contest was amazing. We had a winner and she loved her stuff, and we will be doing more of that in the future.
Oh, and she was another special one because she is the person who suggested the Erica Fraser story. So thank you again.
Yes. That was amazing. Feel free to reach out anytime. And we're also still taking any paranormal stories. You can send that to our email. We're collecting stories to release another episode in the future on that. Because spooky time will be here before we know it, because, you blink and the month is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyway. All right, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.